Hi guys, Togre here for a new World of Warcraft video. After the Elemental Shaman guide, I wanted to put out a second video, a second guide for my second main, Warrior. But again, like you noticed on the title, it will be a FURY Warrior PvP guide video, and it is very interesting. I really like FURY. I know I've put FURY in the C tier, which is the bottom tier after F tier. And I know a lot of YouTube creators, a lot of pros put Fury as the bottom tier class spec, but I feel it's a lot of it's slept on because of a few aspects that arms have, but Fury doesn't. But you can play Fury at a high level, but also make it possible to be to have fun with it because Fury is more fun than arms, and that is a subjective statement, but I feel like a lot of warriors think about the same things. This guide is targeted for players between 1k and 2k rating. I know it is quite low, but I feel like a lot of players are in that range and they are not all rank 1s or glad players. This guide will help you make an idea for Fury if you want to try it out, if you want to play with a Fury Warrior, or if you want to know what you can do against. This guide will be around 25 minutes, I hope, maybe less. And I hope you will enjoy it. Please press like, subscribe, and comment below what you think about the guide, and I hope you will enjoy it. Alright, so let's begin about the main talents. I play with Sudden Death on the 15 row because I play Venthyr, and I really like the possibilities to condemn a lot faster, a lot sooner than expected. I like the surprise damage that it can provide. I also like to use condemn as much as possible because it is my Venthyr spell. Fresh Beat is also very strong. I feel like it's stronger when you're Kyrian. Um, your first blood rage always enrages you, and it has a 50% extra increased chance to trigger enrage. It is strong. I'm not going to comment War Machine. It is pretty bad for PvP. But if you want to play fresh meat, it is possible. But for me, sudden death is the obvious good, better choice on the 15 row. 25 row in arenas, Stormbolt will be always the better choice. But you can always play double time in PvP for BGs, for RBGs, for epic BGs, maybe also the Maw if you want to be faster if you don't have the mounts. You can play double time in maybe a arena comp where you don't need a stun, but I think that won't happen. On the 30 row I play with Massacre because I have Condemn. I prefer to play Condemn and to hit with Condemn as much as possible, so the CD reduction is very nice, but also the 35% health, which makes it possible to Condemn a lot sooner. Frenzy is a good talent, but for later. Now the pace of the game is very fast, so you need actual real damage and not haste most of the time. The haste is very low at this stage of the game, and we will see it maybe it's next season if it's going to be better or not. Onslaught is a good option. It does crit very hard. It is a fun spell to play with because it requires enrage. But if you are Venthyr, I feel like Massacre is the better choice because you want to condemn as much as possible. You will hear condemn a lot in this video. So a War Paint gives you a mini death stance for no any backlash because you put a lot of damage out without getting the minus 20% damage from death stance. But again, you can get stunned, and your enrage goes off, and you have 0%. It is the better choice for arenas, but in BGs, epic BGs, and RBGs, you can play with Bounding Stride. It is a fun spec, fun talent. it is noticeable since you will have a 30-second cooldown on heroic leap, which is fun and interesting for mobility wise. Furious charge, it is stronger when you play with double time, but often than not you're charging at full HP, because have maybe a healer with you in arenas, or you are going to charge on the first time on a target and you stay on the target, so you don't get the application of the extra healing that you can get on your bloodthirst. Cruelty is my talent choice because of the extra damage it can provide on Raging Blow, but also the 30% chance on reset. Raging Blow is one of the better hitting abilities from Warrior, so I feel like you want to upgrade it as much as possible. Frothing Berserker is not strong enough. I feel like if it's 40% or 40 rage, it could be debatable, but for now 20% to have 20 rage, it is not enough, and I feel like it is undertuned. Thieves, I don't play it in PvP, and I don't feel like I understand the power behind it, because 4 more rage or 2 more rage will not be important for your DPS. Bladestorm is my talent choice just because of obvious reasons. It does a lot of damage, immune to movement impairing, loss of control effects, but can also be used defensively when you're rooted, and it does a lot of damage, especially with my legendary. Dragon Roar doesn't have a legendary. If it had, maybe I will play it. But for now, Bladestorm is the obvious choice. The damage is not that high to justify the talent pick. Meat Cleaver is more of a PvE talent. Those 3 talent choices on the 50 row are all competitive. I play for Anger Management because I like to have a 1 minute recklessness. I also played with Reckless Abandon, but it makes your rampage hits not very hard compared to Bloodthirst or Raging Blow, because it changed the abilities and makes your Raging Blow charge on people and do a lot more damage, and your Bloodthirst will heal for more but also do more damage. But you will then play basically around Recklessness, and if you don't have Recklessness up, you will not get it up quicker, but also not it's not very interesting because you can get stunned and have no value with it for it. Siegebreaker is very good, but I feel like I'm GCD capped. I don't want to have an extra spell to hit, especially people can stun you when they are siege broke, and yeah, it is strong. You can play with it. You can make it work or make it better than anger management. For me, anger management is very very interesting to play. It's it's very strong. It's stronger than you think, especially when it's a dampening game. You will get more recklessness out than on normal games when you are playing with Siegebreaker or Reckless Abandon. For PvP talents, for BGs, you can play with Deathwish pretty much all the time because it's very fun to use. On your downtime, you use Deathwish to keep it up. And if you play with a healer or with a team, you can use that extra 50% damage very well. You can obliterate people with it. When I use it in arenas, I use it versus a 2 scump with a warlock. If you have a warlock shaman or a warlock druid or warlock holy paladin, you could play with death wish, and you will not notice that much more damage on you, but the warlock will definitely feel that damage on him. It is very risky, but if you have full confidence in your healer, you can then play a lot more risky and make it work. I really like Deathwish, and if I could play it every time, I would. Blood Rage is for now and for me my go-to PvP talent. I always play with Blood Rage in every comp, in every situation. Why? It's not for the 40 rage every 4 seconds. It is more about the snare and root break that it can provide. 20-second cooldown for a root and snare break is very strong versus a mage because it is the same CD pretty much as a Nova, and you can catch anyone with it. No more sitting in entangling roots and getting guided by anyone and everything. But now with Blood Rage, you have the possibility to get out of roots and to get out of snares. DKs won't kite you any longer with their Chain of Ice. You can use Blood Rage. If they want to put Chain of Ice again, alright, but you're using your runes to try to slow me down. But it doesn't work when you're like playing with a Holy Paladin and Blood Rage. You won't root a Fury Warrior. Fury Warrior will just get to you and own the hell out of you. The only problem they have is the Mortal Strike effect. But we will talk about it a little bit later. Enduring Rage is also a staple talent. I would only play Enduring Rage like all the time. I wish it was baseline because I feel like the Fury Warrior needs it more than anything else. The extra enrage effect helps your war paint, helps your damage, helps your uptime. Raging blows helps your uptime when you're striking with raging blow. The enrage goes up, and then you can rely on real burst and real damage. You can always change your death wish for barbarian in BGs, for death sentence if you feel you're getting kited, but that's really a risky talent as it's kind of the same as a death wish. You don't get very much value from it. Battle Trance is very good for healing, but for now I feel like the health pools are very low and you will not notice that much. The 5 reach every 3 seconds can be interesting. Master and Commander is very strong, gives you a 40% additional health if you have the Conduit too, and every minute, so you have like a 40% heal every time you press on it. It is very strong. Disarm, very strong versus warriors, versus paladins, because they heal themselves when they hit, so they won't heal Word of Glory anymore when you're disarming him. Slaughterhouse is very strong if you pair it with fresh meat and with the conduit. But it's a playstyle that you can do, but I feel like I play a lot more around Condemn and Rampage and Raging Blow, and the Bloodthirst is really a filler uh, filler spell for me. Demolition very strong versus double Paladin. Overwatch very strong versus double Casters and Rogue Mage. It helps your teammate a lot of the time. Now let's play. Let's talk about the main strength and weakness of a Fury Warrior. The strength is it is very strong when you play it correctly. Of course, you don't have the Mortal Strike effect. It is very fun. That is subjectively. I really like Fury. I prefer Fury to play Fury instead of Arms. I'll also try to switch. I am going to switch from Arms to Fury in the future, and I'm going to play only Fury. I'm going to stop to play Arms because it's very boring for me. The utility it can provide is quite the same as an Arms Warrior. The damage it can provide is quite the same as an Arms Warrior. But the main weakness is you cannot rely on a Mortal Strike effect. That's the only problem you have. Defensive, you don't have die by the sword. You don't have the possibilities to survive as much as an Arms Warrior. Before Fury Warrior, it was all about sustain. Now I feel like Arms Warrior are more tanky than Fury Warriors. The third one, the third weakness that they have is something terrible. People will judge you only because of your spec and will not play with you because they don't know about Fury, they only know arms. And that's very terrible. That's why I try to give more attention to Fury, to try to for people to understand the strong that Fury is very strong and very noticeable when you play with a good healer behind him. Let's talk about legendaries. I'm playing with Unhinged, so I know what you're saying. Unhinged is an arms warrior legendary, but it works as Fury, so you automatically cast a total of 2 mortal strikes at random nearby enemies while blade storming. It is very noticeable versus a healer because you can mortal strike their face and make it possible to kill people in 1v1. It is very strong, gives you a 50% more damage on your Blade Storm. You already do around 10 and 11k without crits. And you can hit Mortal Strike at the same time, which is about 5k in total if they don't crit, which is very strong. If it crits, you can basically kill someone in one Blade Storm. If they don't put defensives, if they don't um, have a healer besides them, if they feel like they don't respect you, they will feel the Blade Storm for sure. Again, I'm not saying that it's the best legendary, but again, if you play Arms too, because I played Arms before, Unhinged is the better legendary for both specs if you play both specs. Imagine you want to play Fury, and you want only play Fury, and you want only to have a legendary based on Fury. You could go for Reckless Defense, which makes your Recklessness basically a 30-45 seconds CD. So you have more Recklessness. You already have a Recklessness that is around 12-16 seconds the duration of it because of the conduit. So you will basically have a 15 seconds uptime with a 30-second CD, which is very strong in arena and in BGs. Will of the Berserker is very strong because you can have a permanent 7% extra crit in a fight. But again, it's hard to quantify if 7% extra crit is very helpful or not, because it is very different. Fury is very different than BFA Fury. Crit is not that important. I feel like I want to play with crit, that's why I'm prioritizing crit and mastery instead of haste. But I don't know if I want to allocate a legendary for it. Misshapen Mirror, you cannot go wrong. You can build it and you can wear it as arms, as protection, and Fury Warrior. Very strong, very annoying to play against, very good for your ally, and very bad for casters versus you, because casters will not cast things in peace, at least. Signet of Torment Kings, very good for PvE, very good for PvP. I feel its randomness is very annoying that you will need some macros to get out of Bladestorm as fast as possible, but it can be strong. I will make this legendary very fast so I can test it. But for now, Unhinged is my go-to legendary. Leaper is also a very good legendary, but only for BGs and RBGs and epic BGs. I won't use it in arenas. Feel like the other legendaries are maybe better for a Fury to use. So let's talk about comps. You can play with like in 2v2 you can play with any healer because they will be a very good asset for the team. But I won't recommend Fury Warrior with any other DPS. Maybe enhance Shaman if they have good macros, or Red Paladin if they have also good macros. But with any other healer, if they are not hybrid, I will not recommend. Every time you play with a healer, it's a lot better than if you play with a rogue or with a druid, or if you play with a demon hunter or with a DK. It is very annoying to die in 15 seconds. So with your healer, at least you have the time to put some pressure and maybe kill the targets that you desire. In trees, you could play with any arms warrior comp, but I would recommend to find another Mortal Strike effect spec. So I would say Monk, I would say Demon Hunter, I would say a Hunter in general. You can have a pet that gives you a Mortal Strike effect. Or you can play with any other caster like Shadow Priest, Affliction, or Elemental Shaman, or Balanced Druid, or Fire Mage, because you don't need the Mortal Strike effect if you can one-shot anyone. The CC that it can provide can be very interesting. The healers that you will like are Resto Druid, Shaman, and Holy Paladin. Feel like Priest is really sketchy because of the mana problems they have. They have more damage than any other healing specs, but it is very hard to play with a Priest because their healing is not as strong as the Flavor of the Month class, except Resto Druid. Resto Druid, their strength is between the Cyclones and the off DPS that it can provide. Um, Now let's talk about warriors, Fury Warriors. Is it C tier? Is it D tier? Now, for now, I feel like it's still C tier and D tier. But the more I play Fury Warrior, the more I'm playing arenas, the more I play BGs, I really feel that I'm underestimating the fact that Fury Warrior can dish a lot of damage. And I'm overestimating the Mortal Strike effect. A lot of classes don't have a Mortal Strike effect and they don't complain about it. So I feel like that it's because arms do have a Mortal Strike effect and Fury not. So let's try it out a little bit more in arenas. If you are not playing a warrior but you play with a warrior, please give it a chance to Fury Warrior. If they have a good gear, if they have a good place, they can really do a lot of damage. Now, let's talk about Covenants because I should have talked a little bit sooner about it. But you can choose between Night Fae, Venthyr, and Curian. Night Fae is very, very fun to play. I tried it out. It is very strong, but Jira plays it. And the lore behind it is quite fun. But numbers don't lie. Venthyr and Kyrian are the better covenants for Fury and Arms. I chose Venthyr after playing Kyrian and Venthyr. I've chosen Venthyr because I really like the Condemns, I really like the Door of Shadows, I really like the nature of the Covenant, and Kyrian for me looks very boring. It is very boring. I don't like the spell. I feel like that it needs a little nerf because the tether is very long for a lot of casters. It is strong versus a mage that tries to blink out, but more often than not they can just ice block it and get out of it very fast. Survival hunters in general don't get affected by it if they have the legendary for it. So I feel Venthyr is the one that I want to play the most. I was 20, like ranked 26 on my Kyrian. Now I'm ranked renown 15, and I want to get my renown as fast as possible so I can also give you an opinion about the soul mines. For now, I use Teotha. I really like the soothing shade in PvP. It is quite annoying that you get guided out of the soothing shade, but once you are enraged once, I think you stay enraged with the same amount of mastery. I think I'm not correct about that. I play with Inspiring Presence again, gives you a 25% rallying cry, but also a 40% if you get the talent. I play with Vicious Contempt. Makes your bloodthirst hit harder when people get below 35%, but Depths of Insanity is probably the better, objectively better conduit for a Fury. The other conduits are not noticeable enough to play. Maybe Ashen Juggernaut, but again, Is the crits that valuable? That's another problem, another discussion for another day. If you have a finesse conduit somewhere and you want to use it, you could also play with intimidating shout. You can also play with piercing howl, which is also nice versus melee. And endurance is very boring and very uninteresting to play with. For now, this is my explanation about FURY Warrior. I hope you liked it. I hope you liked that video. Please like or dislike the video if you didn't like it. Comment below what you want to see next. I'm also trying to work on a PvP montage video, but it takes a lot of time. I try to put out a lot of guides of my already played classes, so I will probably pull out a destruction warlock guide and also a survival hunter guide. I need to practice my demonology to see if I can give you a proper explanation about that, but for now, I hope you enjoyed that video. I hope you would try FURY out. I hope you will try to play with the FURY, and I hope you try to understand what is the strength or weakness for FURY Warrior in PvP. Remember, please like, dislike, comment below if you want to comment. Please give me your opinion. I really appreciate it. I always respond on every message and I try to communicate as much as possible. And please subscribe so you can see the progression of the channel. I really would like to have a better subscribe number because I want to give you guys good quality videos. But for that, I need a little bit more subscribers. I need a little bit more viewers to, of course, not only motivate myself, but also help you guys understand that I can give you um, maybe a better insight about a few classes. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching the video. Please stay safe in these times, and I wish you a very good day. See you soon. Bye.